Hello again. We are here at the end of the year, kiddies. And as such, we're going to ring it in, ring out the old, ring in the new with my favorite movies of 2012. I will preface this by saying I did not see every movie that came out in theaters this year, but of the ones I did see, these are the best, or at least what I think are the best. And they are in ascending order: Cabin in the Woods, The Avengers, and Cloud Atlas. Yes, I am just as surprised as you that neither Ghost Rider 2 nor Resident Evil Retribution were on this list. Don't get me wrong, they were strong candidates, but in weighing entertainment value and cinematic achievement, I'm going to have to give it to the three that I just mentioned. So Cabin in the Woods, if you are a horror fan and you've been living under a rock, is Drew Goddard and... Drew Goddard or Drew McWeeny? I think... Yeah. Cabin in the Woods is Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon's deconstruction of the Cabin in the Woods films. I've listed, I had a triple feature all about them a couple months ago. And it's really just brilliant. I love it so much. I'm wondering if this video is going to be particularly long, because I'm just going to be, licking the movie maker's assholes for 5 minutes. Clever use of the archetypes, the structure of the films, while still maintaining a good horror element. It was scary at parts, gory throughout the whole thing. And then, the grand guignol, I probably mispronounced that, of monsters and asshole bureaucrats and soldiers at the end is really just incredible. As a horror fan, this was just a revelation, and it was wonderful. I will say it was tough competition. It was between this and The Grey with Liam Neeson. And if you haven't seen The Grey, you should see it, because it is what Cabin in the Woods is to horror movies, The Grey is to being manly. So it was a tough call, but in the end, I'm going to have to give it to Cabin in the Woods just because I'm that big of a horror movie guy. And then we say it segues nicely into Joss Whedon's other big effort. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called The Avengers. Features Earth's mightiest heroes from Marvel Comics, and it was pretty good. I heard it did well, box office wise in the theaters. No, it's hard to get the right perspective on the Avengers, because they had so many movies leading up to it. The build-up was so massive that there was no way it wasn't going to do well. I will say that it was entirely possible to blow it, as evidenced by The Dark Knight Rises, where everybody and their brother was ready for The Dark Knight Rises, and then it kind of was not great. The Avengers could have been a colossal misstep with the wrong people and with the wrong attitude. Mercifully, Joss Whedon and all involved decided to just go with it. Embrace the ridiculousness of these characters, the situation, and have fun. And as a result, we got one of the most enjoyable action sci-fi superhero films ever made. I mean, there's not a bad part in the film. No part is wasted. There's very little fat on it, even though it's fairly long. Everybody has a discrete or definable character arc, and there's a plot, and I mean, it really is something. You care about the characters, and it's just very enjoyable and fun. I mean, it's the Avengers. I mean, that's the thing now. I'm wearing a Justice League shirt I'm a big comic book fan, but the Avengers were never really my guys. But between the build-up movies and then this thing, it's really impressive. So any movie that makes $1 billion within a couple, like within a month or so, is worthy of the title of second best movie of the year. The first best is that movie that you didn't see, because most of the world didn't see this movie, Cloud Atlas by Andy and Lana Wachowski and Tom Twyker. It is possibly the greatest movie ever made. Granted, it's every movie in one. It is 3 hours, and it does seem to seemingly encompass everything that movies have ever tried to do in one film. Here's the thing: it does. It pulls it off. It can't. I mean, this could have failed at any point, and at every point in it, between production value, look, characters, actors, plot. I mean, it's an adaptation of a book, which is tricky to begin with. But it pulls everything off in such a way that all the great films do, in that it looks easy. You see what they did, and you think, of course, well, how else would you do it? And the thing is that it's not always obvious. They did it because they knew how to do it. But I've seen it twice. It is 3 hours long. It goes faster the second time. I've been listening to the soundtrack for about like a month straight, and it still nearly brings me to tears every time I watch the film or see it. It's making the rounds in second-run theaters right now. If you can find it, please see it in a theater. It'll be on DVD soon enough, and then you'll watch it. But I don't understand. I understand this film not being everybody's cup of tea. It is long. It has a definite agenda. That agenda being an honest assessment of the human race. This movie is equal parts a demonstration of the absolute worst things we are capable of, counterbalanced with some of the most hopeful things I've ever seen, that we will, grow beyond our silly trappings that we have now. So I can understand people not liking the content of the film. What I don't understand is people not acknowledging what an achievement it is technically, between the makeup effects, the editing, the music, and everything. It is just, I could go on for hours talking about this film. I really love it. And I hope you love it. So go out and see it. See all of these if you haven't. Cabin in the Woods, Avengers, and Cloud Atlas. These are the best movies, in my opinion, of 2012. You can tell that these are good movies because I've switched it to the good guy Autobot logo as opposed to last week's Decepticon logo, because I am a tremendous nerd, and hopefully most of you are. I wish everybody a healthy and happy holiday, and hopefully the world hasn't ended and or will not end, and I will see you next year with a whole slew of more bad movies. Thank you all for following, and I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am.